This is a review of how to convert metric units using a quick and easy method. These are the metric prefixes I asked you to memorize in class, and you'll remember that our way to remember these was my kitten usually drives crazily, making mice nervous. And micro, remember, has the Greek letter mu. We can also abbreviate micro as MC. Here's the table in more detail. Again, we remember my kitten usually, for the units, drives crazily, making mice nervous. And the reason we want to remember that is if we write it down this way, and put in our meter, liter, gram in the units where they belong. What we can do then is we can move our decimal point using this little chart that we memorized right here, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But we're going to put everything in order this way, and what I want you to notice right now is that as we go from mega to kilo, there's a megaliter is 3 powers of 10 greater than a kiloliter, so it's 10 to the third power difference here. Between the kilo and the units place, it's another 10 to the third power difference because it goes from 1 to 1,000. But then going from the units to deci to centi to milli, each is 1 decimal place, 1/10th, 1/100th, 1/1000th. When we get to micro, again, it's a jump of 10 to the third. In this case, it's really 10 to the negative third, but it's a 10 to the third difference in multiplication and value, and then another 10 to the third change here. And the way I remember that when I set up my little chart here is mega to kilo is, I put a 3 there to remember that that's 10 to the third. Kilo to the units, I put a 3 there. The milli to micro is another 3, and the micro to nano is another 3. So if I can remember to write down my kitten usually drives crazily, making mice nervous, put in 3 and 3 on the left, 3, 3 on the right, there's a really simple way you can use this chart to convert all of our common metric units. So our simple way to convert metric units is to use the fact that metric units are all powers of 10. And when we multiply by 10, essentially we move the decimal to the right. When we divide a number by 10, we're really moving the decimal to the left. If we take 5 times 10 to the second, or 5 times 100, we get 500. So when we multiply 5 times 10 to the second power, the decimal moves from behind the 5 2 places to the right. If we wanted to convert 5 meters to centimeters, in the past what we've done is we said, well, we've got our 5 meters. There are 1 meter is the same as 10 to the second centimeters. We multiply those, the units cancel. We get 5 times 10 to the second, which is 500 centimeters. So using the fact that really all we have to do is move the decimal, if we know how many places to move it, if we know the difference between the powers of 10 for each unit, then all we have to do is count the places and move our decimal point. And that's where my kitten usually drives crazily, making mice nervous comes in with our factor of 10 to the third here, 10 to the third here, 10 to the third here, 10 to the third here. If I have 5 meters and I want to convert it to centimeters, all I have to do is look at my chart, say, well, here's my meters right here. I'm sorry, that's not meters, that's millimeters. You'll maybe make that mistake as well. I hope not. You have to, what I would do to avoid that mistake, and I usually do this, is I would write my meters and my liters and my grams here. Okay, this is meters, because this one is millimeters or milliliters or milligrams. So I'm kind of glad I made that mistake because that helps you to see that you shouldn't do it as well. All right, so we are trying to convert meters to centimeters. Meters to centimeters is going to be 1 decimal place, 2 decimal places to the right. So imagine you're a little frog sitting on a lily pad on the meter, and decimeters and centimeters are more lily pads. You're going to have to do 2 jumps to the right to get to the centimeter lily pad. 2 jumps to the right means 2 decimal places to the right. In 5, the decimal starts here. Move it 2 to the right, we get 500. Let's try some more examples. In order to do these, I'm going to write my way of remembering the metric prefixes on top. So I have my, kitten, usually, drives, crazily, making, mice, nervous, power of 10 to the third here, 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 and I'm going to remember meter, liter, gram goes here. So we have micrograms, and we want to change it to kilograms. Micrograms to kilograms, it's a jump of 3, 4, 5, 6, and another 3. Makes 9 places to the left. So micro to milli is 3, to centi is another one, deci is another one, units is 1 more, and kilo is 3 more, so that makes 3, 4, 5, 6 plus 3 is 9. I need to move my decimal point 9 places to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm going to need 4 more zeros to make 9. And I'm going to leave off these zeros in my answer because they're not significant. So 0.0000035 kilograms. You might look at this one and say, what's that B doing there? We haven't done anything with a B, but I bet you know from computer language and phones that a B stands for a byte. And you can use these prefixes with anything as long as it's related to powers of 10. So a megabyte is 1,000,000 bytes. A millibyte is 1/1,000,000th of a byte. So it works the same way, and that's what I wanted to show you by putting in that different unit that we haven't looked at. So to go from mega, which is the capital M, to milli, which is the small m, you're going to move 3, 6, 7, 8, 9 places to the right. Moving my decimal here 9 places to the right. There's 1, 2. And then I need 7 more zeros to make it 9 places. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I get 54,300,000 millibytes is equivalent to 5.43 megabytes. I feel like I didn't do that right. Let me double count. So 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. I moved it 1, 2. Okay, I moved it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Sorry about that, gang. I miscounted, and so I knew that as soon as I said the actual number, it's actually 5,430,000 millibytes. I had to move the decimal 9. I moved it 2, and then I needed 7 more zeros, and when I wrote them down, I miscounted those zeros, so that's the right answer now. Okay, 24 liters to centiliters. Liters to centiliters is only 2 places to the right. From the liter, which is in the units place, to the C, 2 places to the right, that would be 2,400 centiliters. 12 centimeters to meters, we're going the opposite way from the C to the units. It's 2 places again, so we get 0.12 meters. Try the next 2, pause the video, try them, and then come back after you've done them and check and see if you're right. Just pause it. Okay, here are your answers. 3,400 centiliters to milliliters should be 34,000 milliliters, 1 place to the right. 3,400 centiliters to liters should be 34, 2 places to the left. So what I'd like to do now is look at units of volume in a little more detail. What I have showing here is a cube that is made up of a bunch of little cubes, and each little cube is 1 centimeter on an edge. Now if you go along the bottom of the cube, there's 10 of those 1 centimeter cubes along the bottom, so that means that length is 10 centimeters. Now 10 centimeters is equivalent to 1 decimeter. It takes 10 centimeters to make a decimeter. So my cube on the bottom is 10 centimeters or 1 decimeter long. That's the length. If you go back, the width is the same amount, 10 centimeters or 1 decimeter, and if you take the height, that's the same amount because it's a cube. So if I want to find the volume of this cube, I multiply length times width times height. If I'm using decimeters, it'll be 1 decimeter times 1 decimeter times 1 decimeter. If I'm using centimeters, it'll be 1 centimeter. I'm sorry, 10 centimeters because there's 10 centimeters on the bottom side and up and down, times 10 centimeters times 10 centimeters. 10 times 10 is 100 times 10 is 1,000. And centimeters times centimeters times centimeters is centimeters to the third. So we have 1,000 cubic centimeters in this shape. We also, the shape is equivalent to 1 cubic decimeter. So units of volume are written with cubic units. Centimeters is a unit of length. But when we go to volume and we multiply that length times its width times its height, we get units of cubic centimeters or cubic decimeters. But you know, another unit of volume that we've been looking at is the liter. Well, it turns out if I poured water into this shape and filled the entire purple shape with water, 1 liter of water would exactly fill up this shape. So a liter is the same as a cubic decimeter. And that's the same as 1,000 cubic centimeters. Now, if we extend this concept, a liter is also the same as 1,000 milliliters. So each of these little cubes that I pulled out here, each little cube would be 1 cubic centimeter, and 1 cubic centimeter is exactly 1 milliliter. So this concept's so important that I want to talk about it a little bit more. You can see I have a cube on the left side of the screen. It's 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter for length times width times height. So its volume is 1 centimeter cubed. Now, if I would take a syringe or a graduated cylinder and I would fill it with liquid and squirt that into that cube, it turns out that 1 milliliter from my syringe or my graduated cylinder would exactly fill up that cube. So I get these syringes every once in a while when I take my cat to the vet. They'll give me a syringe and they'll tell me you have to give your cat 2 cc's of medicine. Well, it doesn't matter if my syringe is marked in cc's, in cubic centimeters, or in milliliters, because they are all equivalent units of measure. So 1 cc is equivalent to 1 milliliter. Pause the video, take a little time, see if you can figure out the next 3, and then when you're done, come back and we'll see if you got them right. Okay, hopefully you paused the video and you're back. 250 cubic centimeters is 250 milliliters. 250 cubic centimeters, how do we get that to liters? The thing is, now is where we can use my kitten usually drives crazily, making mice nervous. With a jump of 3 here, 3 here, 3 here, 3 here, and this time I'm going to remember my meters, liters, and grams goes here. Okay, I want to get liters. I've got cubic centimeters. Now the thing is, in the last 2 slides ago, when we were doing all of our metric conversions, they always had the same suffix. We changed centimeters to meters. We changed deciliters to kiloliters. This back part, this suffix, was always the same. In this problem, it's not the same. We have centimeters here and liters here. So what we need to do, if we want to use this chart, is change our cubic centimeters to milliliters first. Well, we just did that in the problem before. 250 cubic centimeters is the same as 250 milliliters. Then, because we've got the correct unit here, now we can use the chart going from milliliters, which is here, to liters, which is here, is 1, 2, 3 jumps to the left. Move our decimal 1, 2, 3 jumps to the left, and I get 0.25. I'm going to drop off my 0 because it's not significant, liters. 3 liters to cc's, similar process. A cc is just a milliliter. So really what we have to do is go from 3 liters to milliliters. Liters to milliliters is 3 jumps to the right. 3 jumps to the right gives me 3,000. I'll leave you today with a little relaxation. Fish are hungry. They're waiting for me to feed them. Bye-bye.